Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It is currently 10:30 on November 30th. Tomorrow is December 1st, so I'm gonna film my monthly recap of what I read this month. I did not feel like getting out all my books because they're on my shelf now, so I'm just gonna put screenshots of the cover so you can see what they look like, and just kind of talk about what I read and what I thought about the books that I read this month. So let's get into it. Also, this is just a little plug. Follow me on Goodreads. I rate all the books that I read, and I'm so close to my reading challenge for 2021. 48 books out of 60. So I have just a few more to read left in 1 month. Kind of a lot. So I will be speed reading in December. So hopefully I have some good books to report to you at the end of December for what I read. But let's talk about what I read. Let me find. When did I finish this? Okay. Okay, the first book I read this month was called My Oxford Year. This is by Julia Whelan. I think it's Whelan. It's about this woman who moves to England to go to Oxford for her graduate school. She's a Rhodes Scholar. It's a romance, I would say. Is the genre, but it's more about like finding yourself, and like, I don't know, it was really good. This did take me a little bit to read because it was kind of like a book that was on the back burner, so I gave it 3 stars. I liked it. I recommend it, but it was kind of a slow read for me. Next is a nonfiction book, which I don't read that many of. I read The Defining Decade by Meg J, PhD, Dr. Meg J. Why Your 20s Matter and How to Make the Most of Them. I actually read this for a class at school. I really enjoyed it. It was super insightful. Like, as someone that's graduating this year, I highly recommend this to anyone kind of graduating, launching into like a next stage of life in your 20s. This was so good, like by far. I'd never read nonfiction and I read this, so if that says anything about it, I enjoyed it a lot. Next, this book was recommended to me on TikTok. It is a 3rd book in like a collection of books, but I only read this one because they're kind of standalone, but they have like similar characters, similar to like the hockey books, the Briar University hockey boys. This one is called Real Players Never Lose. I gave this one 3 stars. I don't know if I told you what I gave Dividing Decade. That was a 5-star book. But I gave this one 3 stars. It's fake dating, lots of good tropes, one bed vibes. It was just like not as good as some other like kind of like trashy romance books. Like I said, like I loved the Briar U ones, so this one just didn't quite compare. It was good, 3 stars, but not amazing. Next, I read Daisy Jones and the Six, which I had been working on for quite a little bit, but they're making it into a TV show. I'm very excited. The guy that plays Finnick is going to be the main character in it, but this book is just like about a band in the 60s and 70s, like a rock band, Daisy Jones and the Six, obviously. And it's just kind of like told as like a memoir, like interviews from each character. So that is kind of hard to, like, you have to like pay attention to who's talking because it says like Daisy Jones and then like what she says, and it's like an interviewer asks them questions and they're responding to it, and like you get the story from all their points of views, which is really interesting. I like how she did that a lot, but you do have to pay attention. It's Taylor Jenkins Reid. She's a queen. She has so many good books that I am very excited to read. But this was my first book by her. I highly recommend. Next, I read 3 books that I had read before. I reread them. It's Not Happening, I'm So Sure and So Over My Head, which is like the Charmed Life series. I definitely read these in like middle school and high school. They're for sure like young adult vibes. They're by Jenny B. Jones, who's actually a Christian author. So if you're looking for a good like Christian feel good kind of romance book, I recommend them. Obviously I reread them, so I enjoy them. It's kind of more for nostalgia reasons that I reread them though. Like I do like the storyline, but it's like high schoolers, and now that I'm in college, I don't necessarily love reading about high schoolers because I just like find it annoying. So that's that. I read all of them, give them a 4 stars, mainly for nostalgia. Probably would give them a 3 if I read them for the first time now. Next, I read None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney. This was a Barnes & Noble Book of the Month that I picked up while I was working there, and it's like Criminal Minds set in the 1980s. The vibes are very good. It is classified as a YA book, but there is quite a lot of graphic details about the murders because it follows a murder investigation. It's 2 teen, they're both in college, profilers who work for the behavioral science unit, which is where like Criminal Minds comes in, and it like follows them finding this killer. And I love like crime TV shows. I watch all of them, so this was really interesting to me. I think I read it in like 2 days. I give it 4 stars. It's close to 5, and it's something different for me, not a romance. So I highly recommend. If you're looking for something a little bit different, thriller, then None Shall Sleep is really good. And last but not least, my first Christmas holiday like romance book. I have 2 more coming on the way that I am so excited to read for December. I will obviously give y'all updates on my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram if you want like updates on books that I'm really liking at the moment. So if you want to read them before the end of December for like Christmas time, check out my Instagram because I'll give reviews on there before my end of the month book recap. This one that I read was called Window Shopping. It is by Tessa Bailey, and last month I read It Happened One Summer. As always, Tessa Bailey is very spicy. There is several sex scenes, but you know what? That's what I sign up for when I read a Tessa Bailey book. I expect it, and you can always count on a good romance. This is set in New York City at Christmas time. The main girl, her name is Stella. She just got out of prison, and she gets a job designing the window display at this big department store on 5th Avenue. But she has feelings for her boss, but they can't date because of like company policy. So it's kind of like sexual tension is building, but they can't do anything about it because they're not allowed to. Very good. It is like set in 2020. Like it talks about the pandemic and quarantine. So if you don't like the idea of reading about something that's like set during COVID, maybe don't read this. But I thought it was fun and like felt relatable because that's what we're living through. Not that I'm an ex-con living in New York City that's going to design a window and fall in love with my boss, but it could happen. So that was the last book I read this month. In total, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books this month. So those are the books I read. Oh, did I tell you what I gave Window Shopping? 4 stars. Very good. It's hard to get a 5 stars out of me. I would recommend it to anyone. if you're over 18, then for sure read it. So yeah, that's what I read this month. And like I said, follow me on Instagram to get like up to date what I'm reading, book reviews, hashtag Abby reads a lot. And yeah, I will see you in my next video, which is going to be my Thanksgiving and Black Friday vlog. It is a long one, so be ready for that. Lots of good content coming your way. It's finals time, so I'm really busy with school. So that's why I'm filming this at 10 p.m. on the last day of November. But I really wanted to film it, tell y'all what I was reading this month, and get this up for you right away. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.